As the new ministers assume office, expectations are high in terms of service delivery. Now, for the Minister of the Interior, Bunmi Tunji-Ojo, a new order is in place at the ministry. The regime of long and endless wait for issuance of travel passports would be over. Let me quote him. We have to collaborate with the service and make sure that we unburden those bottlenecks and make the service more beneficial to the people, end quote. Now, the minister charged, is this a new day? Time will tell, Emeka.
Well, it should be. It should be a new day because the former minister, Rauf Aregbesola, tried so well to make a passport issuance a speedy affair. But there are still some cogs in the wheel of progress. And I think there must be a determined and sustained effort to deal with these problems. Whatever problems there are in the issuance of passports.
Because they are mainly man-made.
Dealt with, yes.
They're
of course, for instance, a friend of mine, I had to assist him. You know, he submitted his application since, was it October or September last year? And the file was just thrown away somewhere until I made some contacts and he was able to, when he went back, they just dug out his file from somewhere.
Parted with some money.
No way. Of course, they wouldn't dare that. I mean,
okay.
Unless that person wants to kiss his job goodbye. So the file was brought out, and they attended within a week. His passport was ready. So how do you now justify this clear breach of the law?
So it's deliberate.
It's deliberate. It's deliberate. Today they tell you there are not enough booklets. Tomorrow the booklets are being printed somewhere. And all of these things are just manifestations of the unwillingness of people to abide by the rules governing their functions. And I think this has to change. It has to change. You know, when we talk about some of these things, it's because, you see, people don't want to align themselves with the objectives of the administration in power. If the administration says we want service delivery to be top-notch, why would you now want to frustrate the process? But you see, some people are headstrong. Some people have vested interest in making sure the process doesn't work. And I think the Nigerian Immigration Service needs to be purged of these kind of characters. It's embarrassing. What is the big deal in giving somebody, in issuing passport,
travel passport, yeah,
to somebody? What's the big deal in it? It's just a document. If the person is found be fit and proper to have a passport, why should you now subject them to an arduous process? Why should you now make things so difficult for them? If you are not ready to do the job, then you should be moved somewhere else.
Emeka, you have raised a poignant question. Why should a man who wants a passport go through hell?
Just like a driver's license. You see, a lot of these things, driver's license, some of these things, you just wonder, why do we major in things that embarrass the nation? Something you can sit in your house, process, like a driver's license, you process it, and it's even delivered to you. Just pay the cost of delivery. If you can't go to the office to collect it, it should be delivered to you.
All right, let's go to Abuja. Asukwo, maybe you have an answer to Emeka's query. Why is it difficult for you and I to get a travel passport without going through the eye of a needle, so to speak?
So, citizen, if you look at it, sometimes when one to go through, just like you said, the driver's license as well as the passport, if you're going through that process, it's like, if you don't suffer, you cannot get it. So you have to be under the sun, under the rain for you to get this thing. And this thing should be seamless. I need a passport for to travel. I should be able to get it in less than a month. I think some days ago, we discussed this. Ifunaya Eze, my colleague, said she had captured 3 months ago, and she did not even call her to tell her, oh, come and collect your passport. 3 months ago. Meanwhile, even before you start the process, and this is where I want, now that we have a new government in place, there should be a synergy between the Interior Ministry and maybe the Science and Technology Ministry or the Digital Economy Ministry So that when it comes to the NIN, because sometimes you apply, they will tell you they are waiting a day or two to confirm your NIN. If all these things are going to be seamless, whereby somebody will not send who is in Yanapaja or who is in Mowe, you will have to drive to take their passport office, and then they will say your NIN is not correct, or you have to come back to them, or there's no network. Most times it's always there is no network. They will tell you there's no network for them to confirm your NIN number. You know, so if it is seamless, if we have a seamless, seamless process, whereby I want a passport, I get to the passport office, I sign up, I do everything. In the next day, you should be able to, or that same day, I should be able to capture. The next day or a day after, I should be called that is ready. I know it's difficult, but there is nothing that we cannot do in Nigeria. If you want it, after all, there's what they call fast track. So how do they do the fast track? So why can't they do the fast track for other people? They'll tell you fast track is so 150,000, 200,000. But once you say you want to go through the process of 27,000, it will take you months. That is where the minister is supposed to now sit down and begin to look at the human factor. The official factor that is embedded in that system. So if I can do fast track for 250 and 27,000 cannot give me passport within a month or within a day or two, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
So that is where he has to start. He has to start from his people. Thank God he has warned the service chiefs there, those that are involved, the paramilitary and military service chiefs.
As a many thanks. Kolawole, the new minister is reading the Riot Act. Do you believe him?
I think I have every cause to believe him, but not just because we know him before, his track record, but also because when you're also trying to access, you access also not just on competence, not just on on track record in terms of antecedent. You also look at the language. I mean, he said that in measuring performance, that there must be timelines and key performance indicators. And he also said that responsibility without accountability is irresponsibility. Now that shows clearly that he understands the game, and he understands the job, and he understands that private sector mentality that you bring into the government business. And I think the same thing the president did in Lagos State when he came in 1999, when he was practically driving the process, through the private sector initiative. And of course, that turned the state around, and laid a solid background. So I think the minister is trying to bring his experience in the private sector. And don't forget that passport issuance, not just in Nigeria, across the world, in Nigerian embassies, have been an issue for some time. And this is because there are growing demands for this. And unfortunately, we are losing money. A report came out some years back where it was stated that in Italy, take for example, only 10% of those who should have the passport are actually having it. In fact, it was the least held identification mark by those who should be having the Nigerian passport. Why? Because they are not able to access the passport in different embassies. What should be easy for them? They have turned into what is so difficult. And I think part of the reason is not just because they say some people supply wrong information. If you look at the rate of migration, lately it's been alarming. As a matter of fact, I think the UK put Nigeria as a third country, worldwide with the highest visa issuance. I think the study I brought, yes. Then again, you look at the data again that clearly says that 7 out of every 10 Nigeria, wants to leave the country. So those who are leaving also require passport. So this is bringing pressure on the system. And unfortunately, the country is not even producing its own passport here, despite having, the printing and minting companies that belong to belong to the government. So we should look at. I'm very confident, or I want to express my confidence that my hope that the young man will look at at these areas, sit down first, extract the problems. Not just enough to make statements. It is good, but we need to sit down, look at the issues so that we can, if you do proper situational awareness, you do, proper analysis of the problem, you're able to identify, where the issues are, then you can bring tailor-made solutions, to those specific issues. Then, most of those problems might become a thing of the past. But again, I think beyond the passport issue is manning a very strategic, ministry.
Yeah.
We should be looking at him, bringing on board, his work plan, what he wants to do, setting the timeline, putting the focal persons, who will be in charge, so that at the end of the day, he's able to tick his boxes that, okay, we have achieved this, we have achieved this, so that at the end of the day, he can by himself, beat his chest that he was there and he did well. It will also speak for him later in life.
Thank you, Kolawole. We wish the minister very well. Abi Emeka?
Yes.
Yeah, because he needs it.